Man United unhappy at Amorim over stupid and unnecessary move as growing feeling emerges. Man United are increasingly unhappy at how head coach Ruben Amorim deals with certain situations in the media, according to reports. The Red Devils had a nightmare first campaign under the Portuguese boss, with Amorim guiding Man United to a 15th-placed finish in the Premier League, while blowing their only chance of European qualification by losing the Europa League final to Tottenham. Man United are currently in 9th position this season after a couple of close calls. Some of them take 4 points in matches against Fulham and Burnley, while they were unlucky to lose 1-0 at home to Arsenal on the opening weekend. It took a last-minute penalty from Bruno Fernandes for the Red Devils to beat newly promoted Burnley 3-2 at Old Trafford, with Amorim reportedly told that missing out on European football this season will prove fatal. Premier League table since Ruben Amorim took charge of Manchester United. It is not just performances and results that are frustrating the Man United hierarchy, with Give Me Sport claiming that the unhappy board are wanting Amorim to tone down his emotional public outbursts. Amorim's decision to publicly claim that Kobbie Mainoo will be competing with Bruno Fernandes for a starting spot this season caused collateral damage that the Red Devils' top brass could have done without, as they negotiated a tricky into the summer window. Jason Wilcox ended up having to persuade Mainoo to stay late in the window and not pursue a loan move away from Old Trafford, and it was seen as a stupid and unnecessary move by Amorim, one lacking emotional intelligence and empathy with Manchester United's history of homegrown young stars. While Give Me Sport adds that there is a growing feeling that Amorim needs to be more careful about what he says in front of the cameras before and after matches. Former Man United chief scout Mick Brown, who is still well connected at Old Trafford, reckons that the Red Devils will have to ask more questions of Amorim if he fails to beat Man City or Chelsea after the international break. Brown told Football Insider, "A win is a win at the end of the day. But I don't think anybody will take confidence in the manager from a 3-2 win when you've dominated the game and end up relying on a penalty in the last minute. It's not the type of result which makes you think they'll be able to build on it. That is what he needs to do. He needs to put a string of results together and maintain their form. They need to continue winning games. That's how you ease the pressure. After the international break, it's Man City, and then they've got Chelsea after that, so it won't get easier. It's very easy to start the season, and before you know where you are, you've lost 3 or 4 games, and all of a sudden you're tumbling down the table. At the moment, he's just papering over the cracks, but a win against Burnley isn't enough to convince people you've turned a corner. Those Man City and Chelsea games are going to be big for him. I don't necessarily think they'll sack him even if he loses those games, because at this point it's to be expected, but more questions will be asked. Thanks for watching. Stay for the next content. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Carlos Baleba to Manchester United transfer twist as Brighton confirm key departure. The latest Manchester United transfer news as they continue to track Carlos Baleba behind the scenes. Brighton and Hove Albion have confirmed they have parted ways with technical director David, whereas Manchester United continue to mull over a proposed approach for Carlos Baleba. Weir, who has worked in the backroom setups at Rangers, Aston Villa, and Brentford, joined the Seagulls in 2018 as loan manager. Having held that position for 4 years, the ex-Scotland international became technical assistant for nearly half a year before eventually taking on the role of technical director. David has served our club well, but we now wish to refresh our technical area with new leadership and direction, Bloom said. I'd like to thank David for everything he has done for us, and to wish him well for the future. Weir's departure signifies a shift within Brighton's recruitment department, which may alter how United approach potentially bringing Baleba to Old Trafford. At this stage, there are no signs Weir's exit may disrupt the Reds' plans, but it may lead to the Seagulls having an even harder stance on transfer negotiations. Brighton are renowned for their tough but efficient approach in the market, often extracting maximum value for their players, and a change in leadership could reinforce that strategy even further. During the summer transfer window, United were quoted an eye-watering £100 million to sign Baleba, which was unfathomable due to the money they had already spent on players. The Manchester Evening News understands that United were relaxed about missing out on the 21-year-old, as they were willing to wait until 2026 to complete a deal if necessary. Their recruitment team sees Baliba as a long-term investment, someone who could add both physicality and technical balance to their midfield. So far this season, Baliba has continued his progression, starting in all 3 Premier League matches prior to the international break and impressing with his composure and ball-winning abilities. His performances have only increased speculation about a future move, and with Brighton's proven track record of selling players to top clubs at premium fees, United know they will need to plan carefully. Crystal Palace's Adam Wharton and Nottingham Forest's Elliot Anderson have also been linked with United in recent weeks as they start to plan for the January transfer window and beyond. Still, Baliba remains high on their radar, and his situation will likely be closely monitored as the Seagulls adjust to their new leadership structure. Like and subscribe. Arsenal winger under pressure to deliver amid fierce competition. Martinelli searching for improvement as Arsenal push for progress. Arsenal's return to Premier League action this weekend against Nottingham Forest comes with a spotlight firmly on Gabriel Martinelli. The Brazilian winger has been one of Mikel Arteta's most trusted players over recent seasons, yet his recent form has raised questions about his place in the side. After a subdued performance in the defeat at Anfield before the international break, Martinelli's role has become a subject of debate among supporters and pundits alike. Why Martinelli needs improvement? Martinelli's work ethic and determination have never been doubted, but the spark that once made him a decisive figure in Arsenal's attack appears to have faded. His statistics from last season underline the point. Across 51 appearances in all competitions, he registered 10 goals and 6 assists, a respectable output, but perhaps not at the level expected of a winger in a side aiming to win both the Premier League and Champions League. One moment at Anfield highlighted the concerns. Martinelli burst forward on a counter-attack, with Victor Gyökeres making a run in behind Liverpool's defense. Rather than releasing the ball to the striker, Martinelli held on to it, eventually losing possession for a goal kick. That decision was replayed heavily after the game, with supporters pointing to a lack of confidence and overthinking in crucial moments. Some close to the player believe Martinelli is struggling with the external noise. He is known to be aware of the criticism on social media, and that pressure can weigh heavily on a player who thrives on instinct and direct play. How Arsenal's evolving style impacts Martinelli. When Martinelli produced his most productive campaign in 2022-23, scoring 15 goals with 6 assists, Arsenal's approach was more fluid and expansive. The Brazilian could exploit open spaces, stretch defenses, and create with direct runs from the left. Since then, Arteta has adapted Arsenal's style. The focus has shifted to more control, structured possession, and patience in build-up play. This approach has delivered consistency in league finishes, but it does not necessarily suit Martinelli's explosive attributes. Last season was disrupted by injuries, both for Martinelli himself and for other attacking players. Arsenal often faced opponents who defended deep, forcing the Gunners into wide deliveries and repeated crosses. That reduced the winger's ability to play to his strengths, leaving him frustrated. This season Arteta has introduced another shift, making the team more direct and transitional to maximize Gyökeres' pace and movement. That adjustment could be a turning point for Martinelli. His speed is among the best in the league, and if Arsenal consistently look to play balls in behind, he could find himself in more promising situations to score or assist. Increased competition for places. Arsenal's summer signings have intensified competition in attack. Eberechi's adds creativity and versatility, while Noni Madueke provides another wide option alongside Leandro Trossard. Eze has already featured on the left. Madueke has played both flanks, and Martinelli himself admits the fight for places mirrors his battle with Vinicius Jr. for Brazil. What it means for Martinelli. Despite internal talks of a sale, Arsenal remain committed to Martinelli, whose deal runs until 2026 with an option to 2028. Arteta continues to trust him in big games, but the raised standards mean he must rediscover the cutting edge that made him a star in 2022-23. With his pace and energy suited to a more direct style, Martinelli still has the chance to play a decisive role in Arsenal's pursuit of trophies. Thanks for watching. Stay for the next content. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Ibrahima Konate turns down third Liverpool contract offer. Ibrahima Konate will be out of contract at the end of the season, leaving Liverpool with some crucial decisions to make over the future of the France international. The French center-back has developed into a reliable figure in the Reds' defense since his arrival, but there is now a genuine risk that he could follow in the footsteps of another key player who departed for Real Madrid. Los Blancos recently signed Trent Alexander-Arnold after his contract at Anfield expired, paying only a modest fee to bring him in early so he could feature in their Club World Cup campaign. That move left Liverpool short-handed and forced the club to reassess their long-term squad planning. Now, they face the possibility of a repeat scenario with Konate, who has entered the final year of his deal. Real Madrid have been strongly linked with the 26-year-old, and reports in Spain suggest that negotiations over a transfer are already at an advanced stage. Madrid are believed to see him as a natural partner for Eder Militao in the heart of their defense, while also providing depth and competition alongside Antonio Rudiger. Konate himself has fueled speculation with his comments about France teammate Kylian Mbappé. He revealed in a lighthearted interview with Telefoot that Mbappé calls him every 2 hours to talk about a potential move to Madrid, a remark that, while joking, underlined how persistent the interest from Spain has become. Liverpool, however, are not ready to give up without a fight. The club are expected to mount a strong push to keep him, just as they did when negotiating new contracts for Virgil van Dijk and Mohamed Salah in previous seasons. Konate is seen as a central figure in their defensive rebuild under Arne Slot, and losing him would represent both a sporting and symbolic blow. Despite their efforts, the Reds are struggling to make progress. According to Marca, Konate has now turned down a third contract offer, leaving Liverpool in an increasingly vulnerable position. While his deal officially runs until the summer of 2026, sources close to the club suggest that the board are becoming resigned to the idea of losing him, either on a cut-price transfer next summer or, more worryingly, on a free when his contract expires. Much like the case of Alexander-Arnold's departure, there is a growing belief at Anfield that Konate could become the next high-profile player to swap Merseyside for Madrid without the club receiving anything close to his market value. Since joining Liverpool from RB Leipzig in the summer of 2021, Konate has made 136 appearances across all competitions, scoring 5 goals and building a reputation as one of Europe's most powerful defenders. His combination of pace, strength, and composure has made him a fan favorite, but his future now hangs in the balance as Madrid continue to circle. For Liverpool, the next few months could prove decisive. Either they convince Konate to commit his long-term future to the club, or they risk losing another cornerstone of their team to Real Madrid's ever-growing project. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Liverpool will miss Harvey Elliott, but his Anfield story may not be finished yet. Once Liverpool knew that Alexander Isak was Anfield-bound on deadline day, they sanctioned the departure of Harvey Elliott to Aston Villa. It was a decision that made sense. Elliott was desperate to play more regularly after finding his opportunities limited under Arne Slot. He won Player of the Tournament at this summer's European Under-21 Championship with England and wanted to kick on rather than face another season stuck on the fringes of the squad. Playing for the club he grew up supporting meant everything to the attacking midfielder, but with a World Cup on the horizon, it was time to be led by his head rather than his heart and embrace a new challenge. From Liverpool's perspective, having invested so heavily in reshaping their attack this summer, they were prepared to give Elliott what he wanted as long as the deal on the table was sufficiently attractive. The inclusion of sell-on and buyback clauses had an impact on the size of the fee the Premier League champions could demand. To help Villa adhere to profit and sustainability rules, PSR, it was agreed that Elliott would join on an initial season-long loan with an obligation to buy for £35 million, $47.3 million, next summer as long as he makes at least 10 appearances in 2025-26. Liverpool stand to make a hefty profit given that a tribunal ruled that they only had to pay Fulham £1.5 million, potentially rising to £4.3 million after signing Elliott at age 16 in 2019. Not all those performance-related add-ons have been triggered. He is yet to receive a senior England cap, for example. However, the feeling persists that Villa have got themselves a bargain, especially when you look at comparable deals that have been done this summer. Tyler Dibling went from Southampton to Everton for £40 million, Mateus Fernandes from Southampton to West Ham for £38 million. Jacob Ramsey from Villa to Newcastle United for £40 million, and Omari Hutchinson from Ipswich Town to Nottingham Forest for £37.5 million. None of those names has come close to matching Elliot's achievements in his career. At 22 years old, he has already made 149 appearances for Liverpool, a figure that is even more impressive when you consider he spent a season on loan at Blackburn Rovers and was sidelined for 5 months with the fractured and dislocated ankle he suffered at Elland Road in September 2021. He has been a highly valued member of a squad that won 7 trophies, including 2 Premier League titles. Maybe it's his 5 feet 7 inches frame in an era focused on pace and power, but Elliot's technical ability makes him underrated. Some players are overrated, but Harvey Elliott is the opposite. At Aston Villa, he will finally get the regular starts he craves and is expected to shine, leaving clubs like Leipzig, who wouldn't go above €20 million, regretting their hesitation. Liverpool included a buyback clause, ensuring they can bring him back if he fulfills his potential. Elliott will be missed at Anfield. Under Arne Slot, he was mainly an impact substitute, with 22 of his 28 appearances in 2024-25 coming off the bench. He made key contributions, including a Champions League winner at PSG seconds after coming on, and crucial involvements against Brentford and Lille. His season was disrupted by a broken foot in September, and he couldn't displace Szoboszlai or Jones, while Salah's consistency limited wide-right opportunities. With Florian Wirtz signed, minutes became scarcer, and his only league appearance this season was a cameo at Newcastle. Elliott's journey from Fulham prodigy at 16 to Liverpool regular has shown resilience and humility, earning admiration from teammates and Salah alike. Though his exit came late in the window, he will be warmly welcomed back at Anfield in November. With Liverpool's buyback clause, this may only be a pause in his story, not the end. Subscribe for more Liverpool updates.